I'm going to show you how to set up this D-Max dual drive moving sensor center guide with the single drive Pro-Trac. Has software number M315919. I've got the manual here just in case I need it. So the first thing, I've just loaded the program into the D-Max, so I'm starting from scratch just like a system would be shipped directly from Fife. So the first thing we're going to do, it's set up on drive 1, we're going to want to configure the sensors. So I'm going to go ahead and go to drive 2, indicated by this 1/2. I'm going to go press enter on remote control and turn it off. This will allow us to do the sensor calibration. So now I'll scroll down to hardware I/O, sensor setup. We have two sensors connected here. One is into S01 and one is into S03. So first I'm going to do the number 1 first. Press enter, calibrate. So it tells you right there to reference value lower limit. We want to make sure that the sensor is completely uncovered and nothing is in the sensor field of view. And I will press enter. Okay. Now you're going to want to use your jog key, your arrow key, and it will move the sensor into your web. And you'll want to calibrate your sensor on the web that you will actually be guiding. So now I'm covered my sensor with, in this case, cardboard, but you'll want to use your actual material. Press enter. We'll not use the dimension in the sensor, so we can leave that as 0. And then continue to hit enter until you're done. I'll escape out, and now I'll scroll down to S3. Hit enter. And I want to calibrate it. Now I am fully covered, so I want to back my sensor out so that it's completely uncovered. So my lower limit is uncovered. Press enter. Now I can jog it back into the web. Press enter. Again, the dimension is not being used, so I can leave it at 0 and then hit enter at the result. And now we're done calibrating the sensor. The next step is for web width monitoring, we need to calibrate the encoder on the motor. So I'm going to press, I've escaped all the way back out, I'm going to press servo center so that the sensors retract. And I apologize for the mess. I did not have a nice cable way for my cables, but you will, so it'll keep the cables out of the way. So now I'll hit manual mode, press enter, and again I'm in the hardware I/O section, sensor setup, but this time I'm going to go down to motor encoder. Press enter, calibration. So now I'm going to press enter to start. It's going to move it to the servo center position. It was already there, so it went back out or went to the next step automatically. Okay, now I'm going to jog the sensor to its most retracted position until it hits the stop, and I want to bump it off just a hair and press enter. Actually, let me bump it off just a little bit. I'm going to press enter. Okay, and I'm going to make a mark somewhere because I want to have to measure the stroke length. So now I'm going to move it in. And I've bottomed out now. So I'm going to tap it off the mechanical stop and I'm going to press enter. Well, let me back up. When I bumped it off the edge, I went too far. So I'm going to hit enter. Okay. I'm going to jog out to my mechanical stop and I'm going to bump it off just a hair. I don't want the limit at the mechanical stop. I want it off of a little bit. And you may need to adjust the little silver tab that's underneath there, and I think that's the problem with my Pro-Trac. It's a little close, so you can move it off of that if necessary. Make my mark. Now I'll jog it in. Hit the stop, back it off, hit enter. Okay, now we have to enter the distance. This DMAX came set to metric units. You can change that to inches if you would prefer, and I would do that before doing all this setup, because right now I'm going to measure it, and my tape measure is in inches. I've got 21 5/8. Your number will be different. I've already calculated that out, so that's 549.3 millimeters. And this is important. You have to set this. Hit enter and then save. Escape back out. Turn my remote control back on. And now I'll go to the isograph screen 1/3, and I want to hit servo center, and that will servo center the Pro-Trac and the guide. If for whatever reason they go the wrong direction, the guide does not center or the sensors do not retract, then you'll need to set the polarity for that. So I'll show you where the polarity is for the guide just in case. So I'm going to go to manual. 1/1 is the guide. You can see over here it says .opg. Hit enter. SC settings. Polarity. It's also where you change the gain, but ours seem to be fine. You may have to tweak the gain. Just depends on your application. Now I'll go to 1/3 again. I'll have it set up. Let me back up. So there's a few setup items that you'll have to do. Now that we have our sensors set up, hit enter and turn your remote control off on drive 1. Okay, so when we go to the main control screen, 1/3, you'll see that drive 1 is not remote controllable. That's good. Now you can press and hold the F6 key. You come into this menu. So if you want the web width to display, come in here and make sure that this is turned on. Big number, that's kind of like a screensaver. Well, it'll take up the entire screen for the web width if you choose. You want motor selected at F4, so we got that. Exit there. Sensor, if you're edge guiding, you can leave that alone. Edge seek, this is the mode if you ever edge guide and if you want to pre-position your sensor in manual mode, you'll want to say either never or only from servo center. If you check always, then every time you go from into automatic mode when you're using one of the sensors, it will always seek and find the web. But that is again your choice. You have options for no web and then what your external lock. Those are defined in the manual if you'd like to see that more. Okay, I think we're set up. So I'm going to go back to drive 1. Turn the remote control back on. We have S1 minus S3, that's for center guiding. We'll press automatic mode. Sensors will come in to find the web. Now that it's found it, it is guiding. Okay, so to set your web width, and I measured this and I'm actually at about 550 millimeters, which is what it's reading. But if it wasn't reading that, I would press F6. Why is it doing that? There we go. So once you press F6, you can use the left and right arrow key to select the character you want to change and select and change it to whatever your actual web width is. and then when you hit F6 to return, it'll save it. And so now, if you watch the web width, as I get larger, it will follow my web width. So if I want to edge guide, I'll select either S1 or S3 and hit auto. We'll seek, find it, and now we're guiding. Looks like my gain's a little high. I would need to turn that gain down. Keep in mind that S1, S3, and then S1 minus S3 all have their own gains. So there's 3 sets of gains there. So if one is too high, the other 2 may still be good, but you may have to check those. So say you want to pre-position your sensor. If I put it in manual mode and I go to drive 2, I can jog my sensor in to wherever I want it to be. Say I want it there, go to my main control screen, press auto, and now my sensors didn't move and my guide moved the material into the sensor. S3, very similar. So I'm not guiding to this sensor now, I'm only guiding to this sensor.